So, why don't we have what we want? Right? How many books have you have on self-help? How many? Got a few. Are you still buying more books on self-help? Right? Why? What is it? Why isn't it? Why isn't this working? You know, you're like, I'm a positive affirmation, I'm a positive affirmation, I'm a positive affirmation. You know, what it is that what you learned before the age of 6, Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bob Scare, a bunch of people, what you learned as your foundations, you learned how to be a human. So if your mommy taught you that rich people are greedy, you think you're ever going to be rich? No, because you're a good girl. Mommy told you that rich people are greedy. So I don't care how much you don't believe that, because your cognitive thoughts that are say, of course not all rich people are greedy, but you know what? Your whole body is going, rich people are greedy because mommy told me to. That's what mommy told me. Right? You know? Or, you know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Or there's no such thing as a free lunch. Or all those things, like, I call it bumps. Whenever that stuff falls out of your mouth, you know, that's like a sentence. You believe that, trust me. Even if in your mind you know it's stupid, you also know it's stupid to be afraid of a spider who's halfway across the room, okay? What EFT can dissociate that? All right, so you can read all the self-help books in the world, but until you dissociate that learning that you learned before the age of 6, how's willpower working for you? All right? So what we need to do is to dissociate that behavior, dissociate that learned response, so that you can get what you want. Because all the positive affirmations in the world isn't going to clear the truth, which means rich people are greedy. And you believe that, even though it's not quite exactly right. You know? Oh well. So that's okay. That's why we have tapping, so that we can dissociate that behavior, so that we can, then after we clear those limiting beliefs, we can move on and actually do affirmations, and then they will work. Otherwise, we'd all have that, you know, $100,000 check, $1 million check on our wall that we look at. Speaking of which, how many of you know vision boards? Okay, everybody that I know that has done a vision board has gotten what they want. You know why? Because I've also told them how to tap away the negatives. So what I want you to do is just right now write down 5 things that you would put on your vision board. Or 6, Rhonda, or 7.
We were just talking about that.
Just write the thing in, like, the new house, and you know, and I would think that these, you know, you people understand, because of where we are, that you have to be specific when you're working with the law of attraction. So I wanted the pool, on the water, I want the ring, I want the boyfriend who's not like the 18 boyfriends I've just, you know, had relationships with, and so go ahead and write down at least 5 things. And then next to it or underneath it, I want you to write something that's called a yes but. And the yes but is, why don't you have it? Now what I mean by that is, I want to have a lot of money, okay? Or I want $500,000, $10,000 a month. Okay, why don't you have $10,000 a month? What is the downside? What is the negative side of $10,000 a month? Well, I'd have to get up every morning at 6 a.m. Well, why don't you want to get up at every morning at 6 a.m.? Well, because that's a pain in my neck, and I don't like, you know, when I was going to school, I had to get up at 6 a.m. So I deserve not to have to get up at 6 a.m. That's your reason you don't want to get up at 6 a.m. That's what you tap on. I want to weigh X, Y, Z. But what's the negative side of weighing X, Y, Z? Well, the last time I lost weight, you know, this guy tried to pick me up, and he almost raped me, you know, or last time or if I lose weight, then I'm going to have to exercise every morning, and I don't want to do that. You know, that's the negative part. What is the limiting belief? What is the yes, but? You know, I don't have the job I want because I'm too old. Or I don't have the job I want because, you know, I'm bad with money. What is the limiting belief? Yes, but. And the reason you're writing this down is because this is what you tap with. Because you can't have your vision board until you get rid of your limiting beliefs. And sometimes it's not all that obvious. You know, sometimes it's like, well, Of course I want to have $10,000 a month. Yeah, well, then what? Just ask, what would be the bad thing? What would you have to do? What would you have to feel? What negative? Well, now I'd have to get out of my house, or now I have to work too hard. You know, no, it can never, you know, Mom always said it's never easy. You know, so why not? I know a lot of people that make a lot of money and don't lift a finger. And then all you do is get mad at them. Like, I wish I was born with a father like that he could give me money. There's always something, I'd have to work too hard. That's your limiting belief. I would have to exercise and I don't like that. That's your limiting belief. Because you see people, they go out there and they like love exercising. Don't you love those people? Oh, I'm going to get up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm just going to go run for 5 miles. Isn't that fun? You know? So there's a reason. And those are the things you should work on. Those are the things you tap with. What is the truth that's holding you back? And if you can't find it, you haven't looked deep enough. You just keep asking yourself questions. And you just keep going back and keep going. And you will get, it's called the core issue. You just keep going back and keep going, and you will finally find it. And that's where the talent of EFT comes in. Because a lot of people just like, oh, I'm stressing less, that's it. But, you know, I'm still 40 pounds overweight. So EFT doesn't work. Well, we have to find out, why is weight keeping you safe? Or what's the negative side of losing weight? Okay? Why do you eat the whole piece of cake? I mean, the whole pie, rather than just, why can't you stop? It's giving you something. Every problem that you have is actually a solution. Somewhere along the line, that nasty thing that problem you don't want, solves something for you. Whether it's cigarettes or getting angry or stressing, it solves something, or drinking or smoking or sitting on your butt and not doing what you're supposed to do, or having a lack of motivation. That is actually a solution. We're trying to find the problem so that we can tap. And sometimes you tap on just the, you know, I'm not motivated, I'm not motivated, or whatever it is, or, you know, until you can start to clear that block and you start understanding what is behind this. Why is this keeping me safe? Because even if you don't think it's keeping you safe, it's keeping, that's what the subconscious does. That's its job, to keep you safe no matter what.